Isn't Nick a Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? Welcome. Thanks for tuning in to my show. I'm the American Anchor Baby. Thanks for tuning in late on White History Month. Jeez. Let me know if the audio is coming in. I'm getting some error notifications here. Let me know if you can hear me in both ears. That would be nice. That way we could get the show on the roll. Welcome, welcome. Monday, White History Month. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, make sure you follow and subscribe here on YouTube and on Rumble. The party's starting on Rumble. American Anchor Baby on Rumble. As well as a big thank you to everybody who joined me over the weekend. We had a nice flight on Friday. Did we land? Did we land on Friday? Or was it a soul plane landing? I forget. But Saturday, we also had a White History Month marathon. Thanks for everyone who joined there. We went 7 hours Saturday. 7-hour flight took it out of me. I'm not sure if I'm ready for more ankle baby. Hey, don't leave just yet. We got something fresh. We're doing some fresh stuff. Maybe a little fresh. But that was fun. Thanks for Saturday. We celebrated, even though there were people who didn't. And we're not happy about it. But we did it anyways. Talking about online people I was speaking to on Saturday, not happy about White History Month. They don't like that. People out here still hating white people. That's how it goes. What a shame. You're going to have a bad life like that. Hating. So we're going to stop all that hate. We're going to stop all that white hate, all this sugar hate, all this hate. Because it's everywhere. People just so hateful. Especially with all this stuff that's happening, affirmative action, all that. I can only vouch one ear. Okay, if I'm coming in one ear, that's how it's got to be. But I got to talk about this, okay, guys? Everyone's talking about race and affirmative action. Everyone's talking about stuff. I was made aware of a phenomenon recently that I thought it was, okay, it was a joke. We were laughing about it. I brought it up once. I didn't know how pervasive the phenomena of the low battery smoke alarm chirp is. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a little bit of a stereotype, okay? All right, blacks, you're going to be the butt of a joke for a little bit here. Come on, be good sports. It's funny. It's these smoke alarm chirps. You know, when they're low battery, they give a little chirp every 30 seconds or every minute. And the meme is that, you know, black people won't change the smoke alarm batteries. Okay, that's the meme. And why is it always hateful, people? You'll get these videos of people decrying racism and then beep. And of course, the comment sections are full of people just making fun of the beep, not listening to what they're saying.
Like, my brothers and sisters aren't dying out there. Like, my aunties and uncles aren't dying out there. And we're still being oppressed, and we still have to fight the fight. I don't know how much longer we're gonna have to fight for. All I know is that we're gonna have to keep fighting.
Beep alert. You heard it there. And I played you that clip of this guy, and it was like a rapper, right? And he was like in a lavish home, showing off all these watches he bought. Oh, no, it wasn't a rapper. It was a fighter. Lots of money on the table. You got the iPhones out. They're filming the watches. They're filming the ice. You got the ice on the wrist. Ice so cold, I get runny nose. Anyways, and still, beep, in the background. Not a good week for the stereotype. Not a good week. Gotta be honest here. There was this video. It's allegedly Hunter Biden. It's, Hunter Biden, son of Joe Biden, been embroiled in controversies regarding his laptop and ladies of the night and narcotics and stuff. Anyways, there was a clip of Hunter, an allegedly leaked audio of Hunter talking about stuff. I didn't really pay attention to what he's saying because all I could hear was the beep.
Daphne Guinness will literally be a blip in
not that beep, not that beep.
Screen as compared to my presence if my dad becomes president of the United States. Mm-hmm. She will be like a pimple on my in terms of the way in which people will be on this.
Those aren't the beeps.
You have no clue. I am Daphne Guinness already.
Yeah.
I'm more than Daphne Guinness. No one gives a about what you think about Daphne Guinness, honey, except the Tattler. I was on the front page of every newspaper, including
smoke alarm chirp. What's he even saying? I can't even hear what he's saying. I don't even care what he's talking about. All I heard was the smoke alarm chirp. Now, is that proof that he was in a trap house? Is that proof that he was in a trap house? Was he trapping? Hunter Biden trapping? AKA a trap house, a drug house, if you don't know. Kind of ghetto. Or was it just his smoke alarm? Hey, maybe it doesn't have to be so racial, okay? The people, all sorts of people, all races are subject to the beep. I have to show you this. Is this another beep moment?
Got there. It's how Clarence Thomas got there.
Right.
But the minute I arrived from my majority black little town, Montbello in Denver, to Harvard, the first week or two that I was in class, my presence was questioned by white people.
That's Joy Reid talking about Justice Clarence Thomas, the recent affirmative action decision, Supreme Court saying that's how she got to Harvard, Supreme Court. That was on MSNBC though. Now I have to say, I don't know if that one was real. That one might have been doctored. There's some online conspiracy theorists who are alleging that right-wing racists are taking clips and adding the little chirp to the videos after the fact to defame and make fun of. Is this another beep moment?
Good afternoon, everybody. Let me start off by saying that I was sorely tempted to wear a tan suit today for my last press conference, but...
No, okay, that one was fake, right? We can agree that one was fake. That one was doctored by right-wing extremists. Can we safely say that one was doctored by right-wing extremists? Now, this one gotta be fake. Change your battery, Obama. No, that one was fake, right, guys? Here's one that's... I do believe is not fake. Joy Reid once more. And she's talking about Ron DeSantis here. And I feel like Hake might have played this clip. And she is on a little anti-Ron DeSantis little rant here. Ron DeRantis. And here's Joy Reid.
Mr. This is where woke comes to die. Little mini Ron DeSantis, the little...
There was already beep.
Governor of Florida, the
Keep
tiny
listening.
and I would say probably the most functionally racist governor in America, Ron DeSantis. Turns out he's super anti-immigration, super anti-woke, but his great-great-grandmother, Luigi Colucci, came to the United States not on the Nina, the Maria, or the Santa Maria, as he might have you believe, given his complete devotion to the founders and to the people who colonized this country originally and their absolute and total moral goodness.
Jeez.
But actually, His folks came here in 1917, a couple of months before the signing of an Immigration Act, the 1917 Immigration Act, which barred undesirable immigrants. What were undesirable immigrants back then? Turns out that included Italians. It included the Irish. It included people who they considered to be lower Europeans. And Italians were considered to be lower Europeans. Not quite white enough to fit in with the Anglo-Saxon product of the original Americas. I mean, not including the indigenous, who they wiped out with disease because Europe was filthy and they came over here with all sorts of germs. But I digress. So he himself would not have made it through his own immigration system were he to be the fascist leader that he really would love to be right now. Also, Ron DeSantis doesn't want to teach black history because it just so offends him that anyone would disparage the incredible founders, the Thomas Jeffersons of the world. How dare we say anything to besmirch them? Weirdly enough, his people, Italians, would not have been considered Americans or worthy Americans under the system that they created, which only was allowed to include wealthy European planters from places like England. Not like Ireland.
Beep.
Not like Italy. How ironic.
Wow. Yeah, Joy Reid failed the beep test. Anybody else fail the beep test in high school? Or is that an American thing? The beep test. PE, what do you guys have? Gym? In Canada, it's gym. Gym class. PE, physical education. The beep test. Anybody know what I'm talking about? But yes, Carver here says, she sounds like she's been watching the Hake Report getting based on Irish and Italians. Yeah. Was that Joy Reid being accidentally based? And, you know, they got to do the finger thing. I don't know. That's like a female black intellectual thing. The fingernails. But pretty based. She's not incorrect about what she's saying. 1917 Immigration Act. But why does she have to put on a Jared Taylor voice when talking about the Anglo-Saxon Protestants? She didn't give it an English accent. I'm putting it too heavy, but it's her little joke, I guess. Joy Reid, she's joined the voices, the many voices decrying the recent Supreme Court decision, as you know. But, you know, she's using that same argument of, well, if you received affirmative action, how come you don't want it for others? And you heard it. I heard it on Hake Report. Great point. Just because it happened doesn't mean you can't correct it. North is still north, as Justice Clarence Thomas once said. Right is still right. Wrong is still wrong. Doesn't mean you got to keep doing what's wrong just because you benefited from it. Just because I benefited from abusing the immigration laws to be an anchor baby citizen of America, to become an American anchor baby, doesn't mean that we need to have more American anchor babies. Okay? And also, them, Joy Reid and people being so brazen and not really embarrassed at all about being, admitting that the only reason they'd get in, for example, Harvard, Joy Reid getting into Harvard because she's black or because she received affirmative action. And I realized the removal of affirmative action is the uproar is coming from not just the removal of affirmative action, but what it represents, a justification of hate and blame. Haters and blamers see affirmative action as justification and proof that the racist system needs to be corrected. And it gives them justification for their hatred and blaming, okay? Blaming, so much blaming. Hatred and blame with reasons they were given, let's be real. They ate it up. These haters and blamers, they ate it up. They didn't have to eat it up, but they were given these reasons so blamers could stay asleep. And supporting the people who gave them that reason to hate and blame. You remove that, it's like taking candy. It's like taking, right, like taking away free stuff. Taking away free stuff from people that don't deserve it. When you get something you don't deserve, you didn't earn it, you don't appreciate it. That's just the truth. You won't appreciate it. And that's kind of emblematic of what's going on right now with everyone. Really with everyone. not enjoying, not respecting the people from here, right? People from here lived here, grew up here, not respecting what they were given, right? The society. And then the people who come here, them being ungrateful for the stuff they're getting. Blamers, everyone's blaming. That's kind of why I always see the French thing too. All those riots in France over Nahel. Vengeance for Nahel, they write on the streets as graffiti. Hashtag vengeance for Nahel, they say, the 17-year-old Algerian who was shot by French police. The George Floyd moment that kicked off the pandemonium that we're seeing in clips, in the scenes that we're seeing out of France. Chaos in the streets, now they got automatic firearms, now we're seeing. Fireworks. And we just more and more scenes of this chaos. What happened to gun control, by the way? I'm pretty sure they have pretty strict laws of gun control in France. Gun control France. At least according to Wikipedia, no civilian may carry any weapon in a public space. A special form allows civilians to apply for a 1-year carry license, which allows them to carry a handgun and a maximum of 50 rounds. If they are exposed to exceptional risks to their life. They have to be exceptional. Isn't all risks to life exceptional? And in practice, according to Wikipedia, these licenses are only issued to politicians. So there's your gun control in France with what looks like automatic rifles shooting into the air in what some are calling Allahu Akbar riots. Is this an immigrant riot? Or is this a riot is this like American progressive consciousness being proliferated worldwide? Okay, amongst the West and really catching on. What's happening here? Is this a riot of the... Yeah, is this like is this an immigrant riot? What's going on here? It's amazing. I had to clarify this, I believe, on Saturday after reading a CNN article on Friday, which just totally left out how Nahel had a notorious reputation, 15 mentions in criminal history file, record of 5 instances of refusal to comply, not his first time to not comply with cops, but it certainly became his last when the situation unfolded with the French police there. And then the parents and the family joining in, and the vengeance for Nahel hashtags being spread around. It's incredible. And if you didn't know, the French president, Emmanuel Macron, what does he blame? What does he say is the reason? He blames TikTok and video games. TikTok and video games for the rioting, which is kind of true. A lot of this stuff gets proliferated through the social medias. TikTok, you see emotional videos that start in the middle and you don't get the full story, and then emotions are riled up, and then you get the situation that we're seeing. Nahel, who's identified by his first name, died at the scene. Untimely death is as it's being reported. Macron saying violent video games, and TikTok and Snapchat play a considerable role in fueling the ongoing unrest. But France is 10% Muslim. France is 10% Muslim. Islam is the second largest religion in France. I mean, if we're looking at reasons here, if we're going to look at reasons, isn't that one that we could look at as well? Okay? I'm just wondering. There was this video of Trump. You remember this, 2016? He said this about France. Okay. Well, the video I'm trying to play for you here, which you probably can't hear, it's Trump saying France is no longer France. France is no longer France. Let me move to this camera here. I won't be able to play that clip for you, but you will probably already know it. 2016 Trump, France is no longer France. That he wouldn't go there to Paris and stuff. It's too dangerous. It's changed. It's completely different. It's changing. And it has a populace of people who are ready to pop off. They just need a justification. I was saying there's nobody out there rioting for Nahel. The same way nobody was out there rioting for George Floyd. Not a single person. Even anyone out there screaming justice, no peace. They don't really know why they're out there. Besides their own, the hell they're experiencing in their own lives just coming out. Just putting it out there. They just needed an excuse. There's no one out there rioting for Nahel. Or anybody out there rioting for good reasons. Oh, we're out here because we don't agree with these riots or whatever. It's all ego. Okay. But yeah, is it an immigrant riot or that progressive consciousness just coming out of America? You'll see pockets of the world, weird pockets of the world with Black Lives Matter, with that spirit kind of being around. And as this has escalated, the police unions, some are reporting a radicalization of both sides in France, with French police unions talking about civil war, facing, there's talk of civil war, that it's a us against them mentality, a radicalization happening in the police force in France. This French mayor, it just seems to get crazier. Vincent Jeanbrun, his house was attacked. This is the Paris mayor. He was not there at the time, but his wife and children were. Their car was set on fire. And during this attack, his wife and kids, they tried to escape and they were injured. It's unclear if they tripped or something, but the wife experienced a broken leg, suffered a broken leg. One of their children was injured during this purge. It's like the purge. It's like the purge. Nick, France has its own problems. Hold on, I got the segue coming into America. I got you, Dan. But is this an immigrant riot or is this progressiveness worldwide? I think it's a little bit of both. It's honestly both, because they're really connected. They're really connected in that this American progressive consciousness where people are not allowed to die no matter what. You can't die even if you commit a crime. He didn't deserve to die, though, even if he was driving away erratically with a vehicle, aka weapon. That's all related. It's in fact they're closely tied. Unfettered immigration and bringing in people who have a gripe with the countries they're going into, a gripe with white people. Truly, in reality, their gripes lie only within themselves, but they give it a name, like racism and white supremacy. So, Paris mayor even his family attacked at their home. And so, like I said, I think it's a bit of both. They're intertwined ideologically and all that. But there's an interesting part to this story in France, because some have revealed that there is a little bit of U.S. involvement here. Okay, a little bit more active than just putting out culture. There's a woman named Rokhaya Diallo. Let me see if I can pull up a little picture of this lady. Rokhaya Diallo, a French journalist, author, filmmaker, activist for racial, gender, and religious equality. Okay? This is Diallo. Mrs. Diallo. Oh, let me pull it up. This is Miss Diallo here. French journalist. why am I talking about Diallo here? Because it's interesting report has come out on her and how wokeism, kind of spread in France, okay? How it spread in France a couple of years ago. Well, if you don't know about 𝒔𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍�, Diallo, she argues, she's a well-known, basically, like a polarizing figure, okay, in France. And she draws parallels between French and American criminal justice systems. She has a documentary called From Paris to Ferguson. You know about those, what is it? Was it Ferguson riots? Ferguson riots 2014, series of protests and unrest in Ferguson, Missouri following the fatal shooting of Michael Brown. You know this. Is it Michael Brown? Michael Brown, hands up, don't shoot. One of the more pervasive lies of the Black Lives Matter and all that whole thing. Okay? But here's what's interesting. In 2010, the U.S. State Department invited French politicians and activists to a leadership program to help them strengthen the voice and representation of ethnic groups that have been excluded from government. So the U.S. government inviting French nationals of foreign countries to bring them into America and educate them. Educate them. They say help them strengthen the voice of representation and ethnic groups. What they're saying is they invited these foreign academics and journalists to America to brainwash them and send them back with the proper tools to subvert a nation. 𝒔𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒍� Diallo attended this 2010 State Department invitation. So, I mean, she's a U.S. government trained propaganda pusher in France. I mean, think about that for a second. The U.S. government training and sending out these missionaries, the missionaries of the new U.S. State Department religion. Okay? All this stuff. Which is kind of an incredible, an interesting thing. U.S. government. Spreading freedom. Hey, sir. Hey, excuse me, nation. Excuse me, foreign nation. That's not very freedom of you. We might have to step in. Have you heard of us? We're America. Excuse me, sir. That's not very freedom of you. Yeah, we might have to take care of that. Do you know what a drone is? Do you know what a drone strike is? Bigot. Yeah, 2010 State Department. 𝒔𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒍� Diallo. And she makes all sorts of claims and articles here. France has ignored racist police violence for decades. This uprising is the price of that denial, writes 𝒔𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒍𝒔 Diallo, the trained propagandizer by the State Department in France. Incredible. So it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, right? The drug dealer and the drug user. 𝒔𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒂𝒍𝒔 Diallo, the trained drug dealer by the U.S. State Department, pushing the drug of hate and trying to justify anger. But the people, the French people, eating it up. And probably not all French people. Probably not all French people. They can't all be French, right? Not with all that immigration. But here's the thing. Affirmative action is not just like giving to the undeserved underachiever. That's kind of the general definition, right? Giving, this person or group or whatever, is disadvantaged individual or group is unable to achieve certain things like other more privileged people in this country due to some form of barrier. And so affirmative action is there to let them in. Giving to, I think it's fair to say, the undeserved. Now, they'll say they deserve it, but they didn't earn it, is what I'm trying to say here, right? But it's not just that. That's not the only definition. Affirmative action, we should be looking at that word and that phrase the same as CRT, woke, anything. It's a bureaucratic way of figuring out who is going to embody this progressive consciousness I'm talking about. Who's going to be a good soldier? What's your litmus test? Affirmative action. Who's going to be a good ideologue, a good little soldier to put them in the wrong place, put the wrong people in the right places? It's called affirmative action. You already know this, but maybe you don't. Yeah. There's a daddy's home moment in these French riots. I have to play this little clip. One of these French protesters, looks like a young person. In this clip, you see this, looks like a young little rioter being taken to a car by his ear. It looks like it. You know what I mean? You know when you grab the ear, I don't know, grab the ear of a bad kid, and you're like, come here, you little whatever. You come here and listen to me. And you grab him by the ear and drag him along. What are you doing out here? Check this out. Get in the car. I know it's short. I'll play it again. You're telling me I come out here to find you after giving you everything. After giving you everything, I come out here and I find you rioting. Antoine, what's a French name? Garçon? No, that's just boy. You're going to tell me you're going to come out here and riot? Daddy's home. Didn't expect to see him out there, huh? I don't see a picture. Were you still? Tell me you guys were. Tell me you've been able to hear and see all these clips so far, please. Let me know in the chat if you've been able to hear me in both ears, the clips in both ears. Give me a heads up, just so that I know. But yeah, that's how it is right now. Blaming. Blame. Do you guys agree? I feel like it's all blame. Everybody wants to blame somebody. Everybody wants to know, is this an immigrant right? Who did this? Everyone wants someone to blame. Give me a face and a name so I could blame someone for all this. It's like I was doing this thing on the trans agenda, and there was some conservative influencers naming names. And then there was a whole fight. There was a whole fight amongst the conservatives saying, "Oh, you mean the Jews?" No, I don't mean the Jews. And that becomes another fight of blaming. Who can I blame? Give me someone to blame. And that's kind of the prevailing culture, the prevailing notion. Give me someone to blame. We need to find someone. So Tristan Tate has started a firestorm recently. Do you know who Tristan Tate is? One of the Tate brothers. Is he the younger brother? You know Andrew Tate. Cobra Tate? Yes, Tristan Tate, the younger brother. If you don't know who I'm talking about, might be living under a rock. That's okay. That's fine. But Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, these infamous brothers charged with rape and human trafficking in Romania. Over there, sordid business dealings. They basically ran a pornographic campsites, and they hired women. They brought them to Romania to make them money so they can work for them, making money, making the business money. It's pretty sordid stuff, though. Degenerate. You're out there pushing this pornographic content. I'm happy to stay under my rock. Right on, dude, Jesus. And so, if you don't know who I'm talking about, Andrew Tate, he's been pretty much infamous for the reasons I said, but very popular for his commentary on women and relationships and dating, which many say he's right about. He's red-pilled about that kind of stuff. A lot of young men are looking to Andrew Tate and the Tate brothers for advice on how to be more masculine, make more money, and definitely get more women. They're definitely really into that. They're definitely really into being attractive to women and getting women, sleeping with many women. It's a litmus test of masculinity and manhood for some. And so there, the Tate brothers are embroiled in a little bit of a controversy there. How that turns out or is turning out, I'm not too sure. Some say they're not being fairly treated due to the being judged by a court of public opinion as being misogynists and racists and, women haters. And so they're not being given a fair shake in court, some are saying. I think that's somewhat true. I'm not saying they're not wrong or they shouldn't be charged with the other stuff. They're saying human trafficking. I'm not saying they shouldn't be charged. It could very well be they deserve that. If they're doing that wrong, they should be, they should get the punishment. I mean, they're pushing degeneracy, let's be real. But I don't know. I think I somewhat agree with them not getting a fair shake due to that public opinion. And we know what that's like. We know how that court of public opinion is. You get a nice video. It gets people riled up. You start the video in the middle. Hands up, don't shoot. And it's a riot. And it's a mess. Well, Tristan Tate has been he went a little viral. He went a little viral, basically talking about a spicy question. And people are kind of coming out the woodwork, commenting on his commentary about this spicy question. Ooh, what question are you talking about? I'm talking about the Prussian question. No, that was a joke. That was a joke from a previous show, the Prussian question. But Tristan Tate has made waves by talking about the JQ, the Jewish question. Ooh, scary, spicy. ADL, CIA suddenly joined into my chat. Suddenly I'm being watched. But why did Tristan Tate go viral? Well, he's talking about the Jewish question. And there are many out there, and this whole story fits the affirmative action talk that we've been talking about, blaming. Ooh, it's about to get good. You want to stick around. Tristan is talking about the JQ. And there are many out there who are, and we've seen this more recently kind of go mainstream after, what was it that Kanye West said? Yay. What did he say? He said he's going DEFCON on the Jews. He made a public tweet decrying how he's been treated by Jews in the music industry. And he's basically went out there, and that went mainstream, the whole JQ stuff, okay? And so it's been kind of a little bit of a talk past few years. How long has it been? I'm turning to Bill like he might know when DEFCON 3 on the Jews was, but I don't think we know. I forget exactly when that was. But it's been a bit of a topic. And so there are people out there who say, well, that they run everything. They run the banks. They run pretty significant parts of society. And that these people are not Christian. And that's why we're seeing some problems. We're having problems around here. Well, Tristan, he's got something to say about the JQ. He's got something to say to all the people who are saying they're affected by the JQ. They're held back by Jews. Okay? He put out this video here. Let's get into this beautiful footage here. And of course, you guys can chime in, 888-775-3773. But he's here talking about the JQ. Okay.
I get spammed all the time by racists or Nazis or white supremacists who say, Tristan, you're scared to tackle the Jewish question. Ooh. Am I scared to address the Jewish question? I know what you want me to say. I know what conspiracies you want me to peddle. Arguing that maybe disproportional numbers of people in certain positions in Hollywood or banking or whatever are Jewish.
Okay.
Doesn't seem like something worth moaning about. Because to me, it's like moaning about the fact that most coal miners are men. There are discrepancies in race, religion, gender, in almost every profession in the world.
Wow.
Now, the Jewish question is something along the lines of, well, they secretly control the world and they're keeping all of us down and blah, 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 blah. Here's why you could take your Jewish question, shine it up real nice, and stick it up your little racist butt. Because I don't actually give a f*** if there were a secret cabal of Jewish people controlling the world. I don't care. And I'm going to tell you why I don't care and why you shouldn't care. You shouldn't care because I, Tristan Tate, was born as a mixed-race man in the projects on a council estate in England. I lived in a homeless shelter for years, and I am now in the top 1% of the top 1% in terms of income bracket. Who cares? Stop caring. If you become a multi-billionaire and somehow Jews are messing with you, by all means, go on your stupid little crusade. But when you're living in your mother's basement and you're poor and you're broke and you have no money and no one cares who you are and no one cares what you say, why are you obsessing over the fact that some Jewish people hold positions of power in the world? Get over it and move on. I am not afraid to tackle the Jewish question. Move up in the world. Whether Jews control the world or blacks control the world or whites control the world or Mexicans or Chinese people control the world, the rules of the game are set. Until you are a billionaire, do not ask me about the Jewish question. Billionaires only. That's my new rule. And that is the only answer on the Jewish question I'm ever going to give. Because I don't give a shit. I'm rich. I have everything I want. Did the Jews stand in my way? No.
Based out of control. Ooh, I can't even look. Based out of control. I don't know if you guys agree, though. Some of you don't agree. Some of you not agreeing here. Tate, the Jews are holding us back. Okay, let's be real, Tristan. Let's rap here for a second, Tristan Tate. Let's be real, man. The Mexicans aren't running the world, Tristan. Can we? Am I right? Come on, Tristan. The Mexicans aren't running the world. Come on. Come on, Tristan. They're not running the... Come on. Okay, he's a bit of a normie. He believes in racism. Okay. But where's he wrong? Why are you gonna itch and moan? I wasn't brave enough to say it today, y'all. Why are you gonna moan like that and whine and cry? Why not get the influence you say the Jews have? Why be black on White History Month and blame? Tell me where he's wrong. Kind of based. I mean, like, think about this for a second. Like, talk to me when you're a billionaire. Like, what a interesting statement, because it's just true, man. Like, how many people are out there blaming Jews, saying this or that on the internet, not working on themselves, not building their own wealth up, not building themselves up by working on themselves, by paying attention to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Whining and crying instead of getting what you say you don't have, right? Now, there's a couple of, and that whole thing about billionaires. Talk to me when you're a billionaire. Then you can go on your little crusade. Then it's like when you're a billionaire and you're being held back, like you say, and you're Kanye West and you're making money and you were held back by Jews or by this way or that way. Talk to me when you're there, okay? When you're at that stage, because you're saying the Jews run the world. Talk to me when you're on that stage. Then you can then you can have your little crusade. He calls it a stupid little crusade. But isn't that so true, though? Where is he wrong? He has some responses too. Tristan Tate went on Twitter because, you know, this got some attention. This got some attention going. And basically, there's people on the right and in this space, the conservative movement, on the alt-right, the dissident right, what should you call them? They didn't like what he said here. Tristan Tate downplays Jewish influence, accusing viewers of obsessing over the fact that some Jewish people hold positions of power. And so someone here in this Twitter thread here said, Debate Nick Fuentes on the JQ, because the video above isn't convincing whatsoever. And if you know, you probably know who I'm talking about. If you don't, Nick Fuentes, he runs Cozy.tv, which Jesse streams on Cozy. Shout out Cozy. We went to AFPAC and they were chanting "Christ is King." Those young guys. And you know, Nick Fuentes has a show, and he's a young, outspoken individual. Smart guy. And so Tristan Tate was asked to debate Nick Fuentes on the JQ because Nick Fuentes talks extensively of this and Jewish influence on the world. Okay, which I'm not denying. Groups enact their influence on the world. We see this with different, like the Black Caucus and different caucuses in politics, in American politics, and other stuff, ADL, anti-Semitism. Like, these groups try to enact, you know, their agendas, okay? But he was asked to debate Nick Fuentes on this, and Tristan Tate responded on Twitter saying, "My answer was a non-answer. It wasn't supposed to be convincing. It was supposed to wake people up, like you up, and realize that spamming Twitter about the JQ isn't going to get you where you want or change a thing." How about that one, y'all? Is he wrong about that one? I've got hundreds, this is Tristan Tate, I've got hundreds of millions of dollars and a fantastic life. The F do I care if a Jew owns my bank? Nick himself is a self-confessed incel. Of course he talks about Jews all the time. I'm busy taking beautiful women on dates. All right, Simp, calm down. All right, Simp, calm down. Jews might own the restaurant? Who cares? You don't get it. Okay, so he's a bit of a normie. He's a bit of a simp. Oh, I'm getting beautiful dates, you incel. All right, whatever. That's not that cool or that important. Women are evil anyways. So I don't know why you're out there thinking that's cool. But even in this topic, okay? And if you don't know, maybe Tristan's not aware. Maybe Tristan Tate is not aware how Nick Fuentes has been affected by what he talks about. Okay, he's had his bank account. His bank account's, you know, frozen, put on a no-fly list. So it's not like he's been this unaffected person. But let's think about this for a second. Even Fuentes, can't you say that's pretty successful despite the censorship, despite this or that? His whole show, his whole thing has garnered a sizable audience of young people, which is what he wanted to do. It's almost like what he set out to do, he's done it. Despite censorship, despite this or that, it's almost like as what he set out to do, he did it. And yet the Jews run everything, right? Isn't that interesting? Like, I would say Fuentes is a success in a sense. And he wasn't held back. Despite the very true things that have happened to him. The bank stuff, the no-fly list. And what does he talk about? He talks about some spicy stuff, particularly the Jewish stuff, which is, as we saw with Kanye West and all that, it's not allowed. A lot of other things are not allowed, but you can see why people get so radical about it. It's like, why am I not allowed to talk about it? Why are you making this so hard? Yet, I cannot disagree with Tristan here. I just can't. I even see Fuentes as a success in his own right. In my opinion, nothing stopped him either. They tried, but but you see what I'm saying? Yeah, okay, fine. Fuentes would be 100 times bigger without censorship. But my point is, it's like that stuff exists. Okay, there's evil in the world. There's probably been silencing and censorship since biblical times. Okay, they crucified Jesus for what he was saying, for Christ's sake. You see what I'm saying here? Talk to me when you're a billionaire. How about that? Because what he say, I cannot disagree with him. Are you just gonna go along with Joy Reid and all these other people and blacks and these Muslims in France and just blame and hate? Is that what you're gonna keep doing? Talk to me when you're a billionaire. I just can't disagree with that simple truth about whining and all and blaming. Okay? Because some of these things that you guys, I'm saying you guys, I'm accusing chat, but some of these things that are banned and censored topics, even surrounding the Jewish stuff, I hear it and I'm like, a lot of this makes sense. It's making sense. You know, they're not Christian. That's why we don't agree. The same Muslims don't agree with Christians. I get it. But blaming and hatred. Where is Tristan wrong here? Where is Tristan wrong? Now you could be like, oh, normie. Oh, he's such a normie. He doesn't get it. No, you don't get it. If you're blaming and hating, you don't get it. You don't get it. Right? Come on, guys. We can't be blaming and hating. That's a really good point, Hake. He says, I don't know if Nick would be 100 times bigger. He's partly exploded because of the efforts to censor him. You see here, guys? It's all part of a grander picture you don't even realize is working. Where's he wrong? Where is he wrong? We got to stop all of this blame, hate, and victimhood. Am I right? It's enough. Tar Baby Yoda says, Andrew Tate said that guys should smash a transformer that looks like Megan Fox over a female that looks like Hulk Hogan. That's an important thing to note when discussing Tate. Why? Why, Tar Baby Yoda? Because he's degenerate about that statement on transgenderism? That takes away from what he said here about not blaming and hating Jews? How? It doesn't. At all. Okay, if he said that, okay, fair enough, Tar Baby Yoda, Kevin Howe, he may have said that, okay? That was pretty gay. But that doesn't change what he said here. You got to separate the message from the messenger. Also, you said Andrew Tate, Tar Baby Yoda. That was a clip of Tristan Tate, the brother. We're talking about Tristan Tate's comments. Incredible. Everything about that statement wasn't intelligent, though. I mean, that's fair, but it's just you'd be missing the point. You'd be missing the overarching spirit and point of what he was saying there. Which it remains true. You can't blame and hate. Yeah, okay, he can be a little bit normie, saying you can shove that up your racist butthole. I mean, I censored that in the clip I played, and here I just said it. Jeez, I censored that word on the clip, and then I go saying it. But he's saying, right, you little racist. Okay, he's a bit of a normie. What are you going to get? Don't miss what he's saying here. Don't miss the spirit of what he's saying here. Don't blame. Right? Yeah, if you're going to be gatekeeping, I'm out. What do you mean, Mena? I'm gatekeeping? What do you mean by that? If he's a transmission banger, I wouldn't listen to what he said about anything. You can't separate the message and the messenger, DJ Onpa. You say, because he said something that you disagree with transgenders, you're going to go with blaming Jews? You're going to be okay with that? Be more mean to the Jews, Nick. You're losing them. So true. It's like you guys just want a justification of your blame, anger, and victimhood. Just like you guys were loving it. You guys were loving it a moment ago when I was going hard on Joy Reid and the blacks and the beep test. Ooh, look at these blacks. They won't change the smoke alarm of their beep test. They should stop judging and change the smoke alarm. They should stop judging. Oh, look at her, Joy Reid and her Jared Taylor voice and affirmative action, and you can't make it anywhere. You admitting it, but I'm not justifying your Jew blaming, and now I'm a gatekeeper. Maybe I misunderstood what you're saying, Mena. Maybe that's not what you said. You can call me, 888-775-3773. Be more mean to the Jews, Nick. You're losing them. I don't care who says it or what they've done in the past. If someone's telling you to not blame, don't blame and don't hate, that's good advice. I don't care if it's, I don't know, Kamala Harris. Of course, these are people that don't say that. They don't say, Kamala Harris doesn't say that kind of stuff. But if it was Joe Biden, Kamala Harris saying, don't blame, how are they wrong? How are they wrong? If you say banging gay guys is good, then I won't talk to you. Fine, fair enough, Darbaby Yoda, fair enough. But can you disagree? Dang. Not one agreeer. We got some agreeers in the chat. Awesome. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that, guys. I mean, that's just how I feel about it, you know? And like he said, Tristan too, he's like, I'm rich and I don't care. I'm rich and I don't care. So that's the last thing I'm going to say about the Jewish question. And then people are going to be, they're going to call him like coward. Oh, you don't want to talk about the real stuff. But that's the same kind of blame and hate that people have when they turned on Trump, for example. He's not based enough on this or that topic. He didn't say it the way I say it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Trump anymore. And it's pure judgment. So true, Hake. The people agreeing on they're busy working. They're not in the chat. That's just kind of my mentality about it, guys. That's kind of my mentality about it. I've just never gone along with not being able to do something. I've always been that way. Even if it's difficult or something, what I'm describing is I've always been able to see a pathway to anything. A pathway to becoming a professional in this, a pathway to becoming skilled in that, a pathway to making money, a pathway to being... I've always seen the path as, despite it, sometimes it's very far away and very unlikely. Sometimes it's, or seemingly unlikely, I'd have to do a lot to get there, but I've always seen the pathway there. Am I making sense here? I've always seen, as difficult as many roadblocks in the way to being a billionaire, to being this or that, I can see the path. And I've always known that if I just did it, stuck to it, that I would get there. I've always known that. Too bad I didn't go down the billionaire path and stuck to it. That's one thing I can't control, what I stick to. But it doesn't change what I'm saying. I can see the path to anything I want. The world is yours. The world is truly yours. I feel like this is all like a red herring, says Kevin Howe. Can we point out who owns the media or banking without being racist or not working on ourselves? I feel like I can do all three. I think I'm understanding what you're saying here, and absolutely. Absolutely. Like the same way we talk about the problematic mentality of a group like the blacks. What's wrong with doing that, calling that out in any other group, right? Jewish people seem to be liberal and they go along with weird stuff. So we got to stop feeling like we're going to seem racist if we say something. Just be honest. But what I'm talking about is what's between you and God. Because you know in your heart, without having to tell me, without having to call in, without having to say it in the chat, if you're blaming and hating. I'm talking about you examining that. I'm not saying, look, I agree. We got to stop with this whole censoring and being soft with the truth because we don't want to seem racist or anti-Semitic. But I'm talking about between you and God. You know hateful people out there. You know if you're hating and blaming. And you're wrong about that. Okay? And see, this is what I'm talking about. In the chat, taking care of business. The difference is you calling out the blacks, but you refuse to call out the Jews, Nick. You don't know me. You're not listening to my show. You obviously haven't been listening. You're obviously not listening, man. But I wish you well, and I appreciate you tuning in, taking care of business. I've seen your name a lot over the years. I know you're a supporter. And this is not even an accusation. This is all we're edifying fellowship, okay? You could call if you disagree. I love it. I got Nick out of Seattle. Appreciate your call. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, man. What's up? How are you today?
I'm fine, man. Thanks for your call.
Wonderful. I just wanted to
Nick,
comment
you
real
called
quickly.
me Saturday. You called me on Saturday.
Yes, sir. I'm
What's
the
up,
one and
man?
only. I'm one of two conservative bike messengers in the city of
Yes,
Seattle.
sir.
Baby.
We did our little White History Month duet. Very nice. How you
Hey,
doing,
we're
sir?
keeping our heads down out here, man. You know, you put your head up above. Too many people know you're right leaning, and they're sniping you, bro.
Oh yeah.
At least in this liberal, you know.
Head on a swivel. Head on a swivel.
Yes, sir. Yeah, head on a swivel. That's right. Yeah. Hey, Bill. But hey, yeah. So the whole Tate thing, dude. Like, I was exposed to the Tate brothers from my good friend who actually turned me on to JLP.
Yes.
The only other conservative bike messenger in Seattle. Shout out to Dan Forbich, my boy.
Nice.
So he turned me on to this stuff, and dude, we just joke about the Tate brothers. Like, what's your body count? How many boys you got?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. After hearing about the human trafficking thing, dude, like, I don't even know how anything that those dudes say could be taken seriously with how just heinous a human trafficking accusation is.
Okay, it may be heinous or whatever, but even heinous things can be true. You know what I mean? Like a person who look, when they speak, it's clear. It's just clear. I don't know if you could tell, but it's clear they've had a lot of experience talking to a lot of different women. They have a lot of experience with that, and you could tell. And so as heinous as it might be, manipulating women and how they speak about, you could call it manipulation, they call it game, but as evil or as heinous, it's still true. They still bang on about human nature and women, or at least on some things that I hear. I don't know about everything they say.
I don't know about the Jew thing. I think the Jewish religion is kind of silly as it is anyways. I mean, was it really
like
6
it's changed too, right?
Really?
Like to the what happened to Judaism, it's like a similar thing with Islam, no? Like somewhere down the way it gets corrupted. It comes from God, the word of God, and then man corrupt it. Islam, the Talmud for the Jews, Islam and Muhammad. That's my impression of what happened.
I mean, everyone should follow God. Obviously, that goes without saying. Everyone should follow God. There's many ways to God. There was this really wildin' dude who, I'm not going to say his name for the sake of your channel.
Thank you.
But A.H., if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, that guy was wildin'. No, you could say his name.
No, he was wildin',
That's
bro.
not a band. Why would I be banned?
Wild theory.
I shouldn't be.
I don't know, man. People be tripping these days.
Yeah, fair enough. He's talking about a certain World War II individual. But go on.
Exactly. Now, there's a kind of a wacky conspiracy theory that dude might have been trying to save the world from evil by doing what he did. I don't know. It's just a wild theory.
Wait, say your theories for me once more.
Okay, well, so it's a little underground. It's definitely sketchy, but he might have been trying. He might have known. And this goes along with a lot of like the brainwashing and the sort of lies that we've been told and whatnot, like about, like, for instance, critical race theory. But that Dudesky might have been trying to save the world from forces of Satan that were trying to take it over.
I've heard
in history.
I've heard similar things. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead. I want to comment after.
No, you're good. You're good. That's it. Yeah.
I've heard similar things. I've heard it like this. The way it was described to me is that we fought the wrong enemy, trying to fight the communists, and that we fought the wrong enemy. I've heard that before. I don't know if I just don't know. Another thing I've heard though is Hitler hated Christ. So what's true here?
Yeah, right. What's true? How can we go back in time? If we had a time machine, we could go back and be a fly on the wall. How are we going to know what's true? I don't know about that.
I already
man.
hated Christ. I heard he try to save the world. I just. I don't know. I don't know. I'm open.
It's wild, but yeah, I definitely, to finish it off and let you turn the wheels. Yeah, dude, don't let anyone stand in your way. No one should let anyone stand in the way find a way to do it. Find a way. God gave us the ability to do that. And if you let mankind, any kind of human being, any mortal man stand in the way of you, I kind of believe you're letting Satan just block you off from, a positive, as long as your goal is positive. You know what I mean? And productive.
Yeah.
Because wouldn't God want that for his children?
Yeah.
Because
Anyway, this is how
I'll let you go, sir.
This is how
The
I
show is
feel.
great.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. But this is how I feel. Like, for example, when blacks say though it's a racist system, let's assume it was. Let's assume it is.
Sure.
Let's assume for a second Jews do control everything and they are holding back Christians and they are shadow banning. They are doing all that. Even in that world, there is a pathway to at least individual peace, but also there is a pathway in a grander scale to. And it sounds kind of grandiose, but beating them and taking back your country. There is literally never, ever a reason to blame and whine.
Like Mr. T. Tate said, does it matter if they're Jewish? Does it matter if they're Islam? Does it matter if they're Mexican? If they're black, white, whatever?
It might matter a little bit.
People control the world. They're just messed up people, power hungry individuals.
And I'm just saying there's a path, man. So true, Nick.
There's always a path.
Yeah.
There's always a path. Thank you for your time. I don't want to take up any more of it.
No problem.
Because you got a mission, and I'm going to go get back on mine. And thank you for answering my call.
Thank you, sir. Call me again, Nick. Take care.
Much love, y'all. God bless.
Moving the wheels. I mean, where is he wrong? Carlota in the chat says, Nick, you should you should debate Nick Fuentes on the Jake. But why would I want to debate him? Not only am I not knowledgeable or into it, I'm not here claiming anything against the Jew. Whatever, I don't know everything they're saying about it, and I'm not out here saying they're wrong. Why would I want to debate him about that? I don't disagree. I don't agree. I don't disagree. There's probably I've heard plenty I agree with. Why would I want to debate him about that? But I understand the question, Carlota. This is just a spicy. I'm not attacking you. I just speaking in a spicy way because we're all excited on the show right now. But yeah, why would I want to debate him on that? I'm not knowledgeable on it. I don't disagree. I don't even particularly agree. So I don't want to have the debate. I would love to host something like that though. I would totally host what? Would Fuentes like to come on my show and debate somebody? We'll have to do like a Rumble exclusive though, or something like that. But yeah, you guys, that's kind of my thinking about it. That's my take. That's my gripe. That's my thing, and that's how I'm rolling with it. Right? Let's stop this hate. Let's stop the blaming, and look at what you can change. Look at what's right in front of you to do in your life individually. Okay? The rest will become clear. And you say, and some of you guys say that you're Christians. Okay? Some of you guys say, we're Christians. We don't like the Jews. We're Christians. And we need to do something about it. But you say you're a Christian, right? So you believe in God, right? So that means you also believe in his plan and his will. So then why don't you act like it? If you believe this, if you truly believe you're on a mission from God, and God doesn't want all this Jew stuff going on, then let him work his mission on you and you will, you know what I mean? You say you're a Christian, let him work on you and it'll happen naturally where you'll make some, and cause something to change. Am I making sense here? Don't you think if God had that in your plan, if God had that in your life plan, wouldn't he want you to be prepared for that? Wouldn't you want to be prepared for his plan? And by prepared, I mean just daily working on yourself so you could be ready for that open door. That's what you got to focus on, okay? So talk to me when you're talk to me and Tristan Tate when you're a billionaire. Not that that's the only time when you're allowed to say the truth, but I think you guys understood the spirit of what I'm saying here. Right? All right, y'all. Just checking the chat here. Hope you enjoyed the show today. That's pretty much all I got. I mean, what else do I got to say about this? Do I got any more clips? Do we got anything else? We're going to talk about, we'll leave this for tomorrow. I got some stuff to say about dating, okay? Ladies and men. And how a little thing I learned. We'll leave it for tomorrow, okay? That's pretty much all I got. I don't have any more clips. I don't have anything else. Here's what we're going to do. Take one last call from me. Is that you calling in? I'll take this call and then we'll end the show. How about that? Is that you calling in of Air and Sea? I do appreciate the support there. That's what you got from this, John Frederick? You were listening to this whole show. Were you? I don't know if you were, but that's what you got from this show today? So don't talk about the Jays, guys. That's what you got. That's what you think I'm saying? Don't talk about the Jays, guys. Some of you aren't listening and it shows. Also, Tristan Tate also tweeted in response to all this. For all you conspiracy theorists out there, I'll state this in public. The only Jew who commands me is Jesus Christ. Yeah. How about that? How about that? Grant out of the UK, appreciate your call. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hey, Grant.
Hey, man. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about, I was listening to church yesterday, and I just wanted to hear your perspective. Like, I could be wrong, but I feel like just by observing, sometimes I listen to your show. When I was listening to you talk at church yesterday, I feel like I'm observing that you're overcoming quite a lot, and it feels like you're... Remember that woman yesterday in church was talking about, like, what do I do now?
Yes.
She was like, I'm now not listening to the thoughts. What do I wear? What do I do? And your answer, which I really loved, was sometimes it's fine to just wear something simply because it's cool. Like, and that to me, like, I kind of did get to that stage where she's at.
Right.
Where, I just didn't know, why am I even, because you have to observe yourself.
Grant, this is a really good topic, man. Just stay close to the phone. You might be on speaker or something, just so it's loud for everybody. But I'm following you. So you listened to, you heard her what she was saying in church, and you were saying that you found yourself in a similar situation.
Yes. And because of observing yourself, you do it to such a degree that you get to the root of who you are, and you start doing what she said is, like, why am I wearing these type of clothes?
You question everything.
You question everything.
So true, man. If I may, unless you have something else to say. If I may jump in, she was
really quick.
Please go ahead.
Go on. Yeah, go. No, you go.
What I noticed too is it's just she was asking, if for the viewers that don't remember, she was in church and she was asking, now I'm paying attention to myself, and now I'm like at this point where I don't even know why I do my hair this way. Why do I dress this way? I believe she even described giving away a whole bunch of clothes and then regretting it because she doesn't remember why she even did that. But she gave up a whole bunch of clothes following this like line of thinking, like, why am I even doing all this? But, and which is very interesting because it reminds me of what so many people go through, which is a good sign. Everybody kind of on this path goes through similar things, so it's a good sign. So be still, calm down. This is good. Your identity should be challenged. You should have a crack in your view of yourself. It should be shattered. That being said, though, what I noticed and what she was doing, what most people do, is they don't examine where is this question coming from. The question she was receiving was, why am I doing my hair like this? Why am I dressing like this? Well, hold up. Back up 1 second. Where did that question come from? Who's asking that? Hello?
Yeah.
Now we know better. Satan loves to question and confuse and give you things that you don't even need to be questioning. Sometimes we like to dress nice because it looks nice. It ain't that deep.
Yes. Yeah, it's profound. It's amazing how he can slip in at any moment. Like Jesse said before as well, the amount of layers to this,
Big
the
time.
amount of like programming that the devil has done just because we got traumatized once and we're in fear. The amount that he can penetrate our thoughts is unbelievable. But at the same time, he can't do anything as soon as you realize.
So true, man. And it feels like you were saying it to you. It seems like I'm overcoming stuff, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can even notice what you're saying, but I do. I
That's
can
right.
say that I'm constantly, and there were some big ones quite recently, just the past week, big identities that were just shattered. I was sitting at church.
Yeah.
It must have been a week or 2 weeks ago, and Jesse asked me, what was it? What did he ask me? He asked me, what's more important? I forget what the biblical question was, but I basically said, because I'm a shallow person, okay?
Yeah.
And in that very day, that same day, Jesse explained something, and it shattered that identity right then and there. And my identity was that, this is maybe too personal, but basically that I was trying to be like, you hear about how a man should be with a woman, and I realized I was trying to do that. But anyways,
Right, yeah.
the point is we got to
Yeah.
be shattering these identities. It's incredible life. What's on the other side of those identities?
Yeah, I mean, wow, it's just so it's so overwhelming. I don't know if this will make any sense. I'll go off of this. It's so overwhelmingly underwhelming. Do you know what I mean by that?
I think I do. Expand a little bit.
Yeah, it's like you'll feel overwhelmed by the world until you don't. And when you get to the don't is when you've let go of the identities.
Interesting, man. I think I do. I think I understand what you're saying. For me, it's like once I stopped identifying with something, I could just drop it all in that moment. Right on, Grant. Thank you. Yeah.
Nice.
Let's keep it up.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate your
Yeah,
call,
bro. Thank you.
and call me again out of the UK.
I will. Thank you.
I have Aaron. Thanks for your call, Aaron, out of Southwest somewhere. I think that's too long for me to see where he's from, but I got you on the air, Aaron. Appreciate your call.
Yeah, hey, what's going on, man?
Southwest
I just
USA.
wanted to-
Appreciate your call, Aaron. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to drop in and address what the video of it was Tate's brother, right?
Nice. Yeah, Tristan Tate.
Yeah, and so
And the
what I
JQ.
wanted to say, yeah, about the JQ. So, kind of what you were saying, I used to somewhat share that sentiment. I used to tell people all the time, hey, well, if they do it, because they are where they are because they have the strongest in-group preference, right? The group that does the best.
I think they've benefited a lot from that. Yeah, that attitude and that
Right.
that attitude and that keeping each other, I don't know, in-group preference, whatever. They've benefited a lot from that.
Yeah, in-group preference is how they've gotten to where they are. However,
It's not the only way, huh?
Well, the reason why I have a lot of pushback, well, some pushback at least, is because
Please, I welcome it. Go ahead.
yeah, so they got to do this. They got to come to power, in a fair kind of. They did play by the rules technically to get where they're at. You know what I mean? They excelled in school. They went to Harvard, et cetera. A lot of them, and they did technically play by the rules. However, what they're doing now is they're kind of making it so even if someone is coming up and they are playing by the rules, they wouldn't have a chance to unthrone them. You see what I mean? For example, you were saying that, we can just, if we don't, let's say we want to own some media, agencies or, get in good with the banks and stuff. But there comes a point where they're so established that they're basically cemented in power where they are, that at this point it's pretty close to impossible to get them out of that position, even if you were playing fairly. And I'll give you an example of that. So as you heard, most people would say the first thing to do is make people aware of what's going on, right? So if you look at what happened in Florida, there's a group that was going around there. They were passing out all the flyers that were saying, hey, this is who owns the media, this is who owns banking, this is who's behind mass immigration and all that, right? And then what do? Since they already have the power, they pass legislation to make it so that you can no longer do that. It's now illegal in Florida to pass
Yeah, I've
out
reported
flyers
on that.
talking. Yeah.
Yeah, I've reported on that, and DeSantis going basically anti-Semitism, total rhino, going along with the BS of racism, except he's doing it for the Jews.
Right, and I'll be honest with you, I'm familiar with the people that do that, and yeah, I mean, like in that situation there, since they've made it so they're trying to say if you do it that it's like I think a third-class felony, punishable up to 5 years. So at that point, they're no longer playing fair and square, right? The technocracy that they want us to be under in the coming future is going to be. There's not going to be a chance to overthrow it. You see what I'm saying?
I hear you, and I don't even disagree. There's also a lot I don't know, so I just leave it as an I don't know. But I don't even disagree. But here's the thing. Here's my thing with what you're saying. You talk about it like it's this absolute thing. Yet here is Nick Fuentes, which you could argue he could be way bigger if he wasn't censored. But he's meeting Kanye. The Overton window's getting moved. People are out here talking about things that you weren't allowed to talk about before, and yet you're talking about this absolute thing. It's just not absolute like how you say, at all. You're giving. In fact, you're doing what the blacks do is you're giving them. You're even elevating the Jews to something way higher than they should be, above you, way higher. You're saying it's like when the blacks say white supremacists. They're admitting that these whites are supreme over them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I kind of.
So we can understand each other here, exactly.
Yeah. I think you.
It's just not absolute like you're saying, and God still exists, truth still exists. Like it's a very faithless kind of worldview to be like. We just can't do anything. The Jews own everything, and just I thought you were a Christian.
I don't develop the victim mentality. That group that
fair
I
enough.
in Florida, I've even ran with them for a little bit.
Fair enough. It doesn't sound like you. You're right.
Yeah, so I don't have a complete victim mentality. But again, I mean, let's say an example is like, let's say how the majority of gas stations in most areas are owned by Arabs, right? They kind of have a monopoly on that in a lot of areas. There isn't too many barriers to entry for the average person if we decided to, hey, maybe we should own some gas stations. Maybe we should own some more of these convenience stores. You know what I mean? Like that right there is something that maybe you could kind of deal with. You could take them on, you could compete. But in the example I just gave you, where in the state of Florida now I think they're passing that legislation in Georgia, I think is going to come up. That'll probably be the next state to do it, because they've simply just been going into Georgia to do that. They've made it so like you can't, you can't really counteract them. And if hate speech laws, and here's another thing too, Nick, all of Europe has what they call hate speech laws. So in Europe, remember, if you're someone who grows up in Germany, you don't even have the right to say, hey, hey guys, hey buddy, this is who owns who controls banking, who controls media, etc. And the alphabet agenda. You're not even allowed to say that to anyone, right? So they've made it in Europe, and there's 22 countries there. They've made it so even if you started to even organize and gather to exercise that in-group preference, as we call it, you can't even do that. If you ever
doesn't sound right, man. I didn't know that. Doesn't sound right. It sounds wrong, and it sounds particularly Jewish the way you describe it. So I'm understanding what you're saying. I'm talking about blaming and hating. You could say something's red. If something's red, you could say that thing is red without having hatred, without blaming and hating.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that I hate them on a personal level or anything like that, but I mean, it's just as far as a collective, man, it's kind of undeniable the power that they hold, and to even question it now.
That's another thing. Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, in my opinion, that's what the Kanye West thing taught me. It really is. It really is the most banned topic.
Yeah, and maybe you could school me a little bit as far as I noticed, because I listen to Jesse every morning for the most part at work for that first couple hours waking up, But this whole, like you're saying, just focus on yourself. Well, I kind of get that, but let's say you do focus on yourself, you make sure your life's, all in order and stuff like that. Let's say you just kind of neglect politics and you focus on yourself. You don't worry about who rules over you, who your masters really are. You just focus on yourself. But then isn't that kind of just being oblivious to, like, one day you could just have, like, a huge catastrophe occur, right? For example, France, right? Let's say someone that is living in France, let's say they're focused on getting themselves together, living their best life.
Right.
They're neglecting politics. Well, guess what? Then they could have them or their family members could have really got killed in these riots going on, So you don't really have this option or this luxury to kind of sit on the sidelines and ignore.
But why is
politics.
working on yourself? Why is the assumption that means go be a hermit? And you know what I mean? Like, let's say you're talking about, okay, there's grander things going on than just yourself and your own life. There's things happening with politics and all that. Okay, I'm following you. But let's say you're someone who wants to enact change in that space and all that. You won't be able to do so in the right way or properly if you don't work on yourself. It's like when Tristan Tate said, talk to me when you're a billionaire. Then you can go on your crusade. You see what I'm saying?
But what Tristan Tate didn't mention, though, was, okay, sure, he's as rich as can be, but guess what? He's still 100% subservient to their rules, to their laws, to their money game. He's still subservient.
But that's like an assumption you've made. Don't you see that?
That's not
about what working on yourself means, and you're creating this false dichotomy in your mind that you're either working on yourself or you're out there. I mean, you didn't say this, but you're out there dealing with the Jays. You know what I mean? Like there's some false dichotomy there. Like there's some they're weirdly. It's only one or the other. That's not. I'm talking about being prepared for. If God had that in your plan to deal with politics and deal with grander things, wouldn't He want you to work on yourself first? Be ready for that. Be ready for that open door. Be ready for the arrival of Jesus. You see what I'm saying here?
I don't know. I just have the American mentality of, when a threat comes upon you, you deal with it. I mean, if I was like an African in slavery, all I would think about is rebelling every second of every day. I couldn't just work on my best self, and then be like,
I'm making this person up, but what is this random Twitter user who's, I don't know, spurging about the Jews on Twitter? What does that guy do? What does that guy do about the Jays?
Well, by more people voicing it on Twitter, that means that obviously get more like retweets. It's just more common. And like you said, you have to understand that I started doing this kind of activism. We're talking in like 2018 time frame. And I'm telling you, I've seen it grow exponentially.
But that's not doing something. That's just talking about it, which is fine.
Oh, man.
And that's fine to talk about it, to bring awareness and all that.
Yeah.
But what are you doing sitting around talking about it and saying, we need to do something? Why don't you actually do something? And then you realize, well, the only thing I can do is work on myself.
Well, I think waking up the masses is doing something. Remember, my take with the whole...
Or you're just drumming up hate and just turning people off more. You got to be in the right spirit. You have to... It's not up to you. Like, we do things wrong all the time. We have the best of intentions and say, well, I have no hate. But we do things wrong all the time. You say, well, I want to bring attention and talk about it so I can educate people. Yet at the same time, you could be turning people away and turning them off.
Well, they might feel that way anyway. I mean, most people do reject it at first, I guess you could say. But again, this is in the mainstream now. I'm seeing mainstream,
Exactly, which goes to my point, that there is nothing in the way. We're seeing this. We're seeing the Overton window being moved. We're seeing topics that weren't allowed to be talked about before. Like, it flies in the face of this whole absolute power that you're talking about. It's like, almost as if, hey, wait a second, does maybe God exist? And maybe Jews don't hold absolute power over me? Maybe God exists, and maybe you could be free.
Well, two things. I mean, I will say...
It sounds a little faithless of you, but go on.
Well, I was going to say two things. So firstly, I mean, I can agree with you in the sense about the absolutism because, let's be honest, I mean, yeah, 80% of the elites are that crew, but there's still that 20%. There's still plenty of people who are actually our own blood that have turned on us as well. So I will give you that. But as far as the faith goes, my faith is, and again, I do love all you guys.
No, I love this. I love this call, man. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want you to, see this
No problem at all.
combative at all.
No.
But,
in fact, even if you were, it's all good. But go ahead.
Yeah. So like, your guys' faith. Here's what I get overall from
hit me. Come on.
You and Hake. The overarching theme that I get, and I don't want to say white nationalist movements, but in nationalist movements, there's a huge there's a schism between people that are very into their faith, and your guys' overarching theme is, hey, just kind of chill, just sit back, be calm, and kind of do nothing. Right? Is that a correct analysis,
I think it's. I want to clarify what you said, because you're not wrong, but because I've spoken to you already so far, and it sounds like you can't separate. Not that you can't, but you haven't separated. Like when you say sit back and do nothing, we're talking about like your emotional reaction to the world. Okay, that's why we say chill. That doesn't mean don't be too much of a Christian. No, that means you think you're being a Christian when you're feeling all this stuff, but you're not. You're being deceived. So chill out. That's what we're saying. We're saying we're saying calm down because you don't want to be deceived. You want reality because God is truth and all that. So you want reality. Yeah. So that's not saying calm down, be weaker. Don't speak up so loud, guys. Come on, sit back and do nothing. No, I mean, what are you going to do? Most people think they could do something and they go out and protest and do nothing, or go on Twitter and do nothing. But yeah, there's stuff you could do, run for local stuff. Anyways, my point remains though, that we're just talking about your reaction to the world and all that, because you're being deceived. Okay, all that excitement, like you're feeling like a big Christian. You're not.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I'm just a lukewarm Christian. I'll shoot it straight with you. It's just that when I
what
watch
do you mean by that?
Show, I mean, I just kind of got into my spiritual journey probably only like 3 years ago or so. I go to Bible studies like here and there.
Can you help me understand what that means? I've heard that before, being a lukewarm Christian. What does that mean for you?
Christian. I'm just mildly into the faith. I've gone to different churches here and there to see what's going on, and I don't know if you're aware of this or if you were like raised Christian, but to those of us,
sort of, I kind of rejected it, but I've heard lukewarm Christian. Go on, I cut you off.
Yeah, those of us that were just brought up as heathens. I mean, when I was growing up, my parents never even mentioned church or anything like that. So, and it was when I was in my early 30s that that spiritual journey kind of began. And a lot of us, if you're not brought up in that culture, you honestly, man, you really have no idea where to begin. How do you know which church to join? Which church is going?
I'm following so far. So describe to me in your life, when you examine yourself, Aaron, and you examine your life, what is it about your life that tells you that you see in your life that has you concluding, I am a lukewarm Christian?
Well, because, my biblical knowledge, of course, is limited.
Okay, lack of biblical knowledge.
Yeah, just stuff like that. I'll be honest, I don't really pray like that. Do I definitely believe in a creator? Absolutely. And the reason how I came to that was the JQ. I told myself that these people have all the money in the world, and the richest people in the world, they're not content with just having them. They have all the money. What else do they need? And so me, I discovered that there was an evil force in the world, so that something had dawned over me that there has to be a good force to counteract it. And then also I just look at how the mainstream attacks Christianity. I mean, it's just the answer right there, right?
So the lukewarm comes from lack of knowledge and lack of prayer.
Yeah, isn't that the right thing to say if someone's a Christian but they don't go to church like every week? I mean, you say it's like a lukewarm.
I mean, I've heard this before, man, but you know what's so interesting about what you said? It goes exactly to what we just talked about, how, you said we here at Bond, we kind of talk about, chilling out, kind of do nothing. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You said, I'm lukewarm. Let's deal with lack of biblical knowledge first. You're saying you're lukewarm because you lack biblical knowledge, as if more biblical knowledge would make you like a deeper Christian. This is exactly what I just mentioned, though. You're just going to think you're a deeper Christian. But that's why we tell people to chill, relax, don't get so deep into it, because you're just going to think that you're a deeper Christian by getting all this biblical knowledge. But that does not make you like a not lukewarm Christian. This is exactly what we're talking about.
Either.
In fact, you need to step back. You need to step back and let God work on you. Let things happen. And that's a deeper Christianity. It's not about this knowledge. So maybe now you understand a little bit more why we tell people to just, chill. Especially with all that biblical knowledge, man.
Because with like Jesse's show, I mean, he'll start off by going over a couple clips of some outrageous stuff going on, and it's like, well, and then in the same breath, he's saying, oh, but you just gotta chill, you just gotta take it easy, and I'm just like, well,
I don't know if Jesse ever says chill.
Because if I walk out the door and someone violates me, there will be some anger, and that anger is what I'm used to.
I totally understand what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying, and this is a common kind of line of thinking that emotion and action are closely intertwined, and that you need one for the other. But it's just not true. It's just not true. In fact, the emotion won't let you see clearly, and you won't be acting in the moment, which is where God is. Right? You said you don't want to be a lukewarm Christian. All that knowledge is going to have you acting in a place that's not in the moment, which is where God is. Don't you want to be with God? No, but instead you go into the mind and think, I need to be a less lukewarm Christian, and I need the knowledge or this or that.
Okay, it's very deep, my brother.
It's just what I'm thinking about here with your conversation here, Aaron. I do appreciate your call. Very thought-provoking. It's made me think about some stuff, too.
Yeah, definitely. All right, yeah, we'll face off again.
Right on, Aaron. Well, call me again.
You'll take you, bro.
Take it easy. Moving the wheels. All right, y'all. That's the show. I do appreciate you being with me. It's been fun. It's been a slice. Join me tomorrow for American Anchor Baby at noon. We got Joel Friday, Tuesday. Do not miss it. Tuesdays are always hype. And, of course, Hake and Jesse. Appreciate the show, guys. Happy White History Month. Catch you guys tomorrow. What else? I believe I've been supported here with some super chats of Aaron C. With the super chat says, what's the call-in number, sir? I believe you already received it as we got off the phone just a moment ago. So thank you for that support. All right, y'all. Take care. Catch you tomorrow. Peace. This is embarrassing. I just said peace, and I have not clicked where is the button? Wow. This is embarrassing, guys. This is embarrassing. Okay. This is embarrassing. All right. Now we're out. Peace.